MakingStarWars.net.
I just saw what was on CBS.
I told you. Oh, God.
I'm horny. Who cares?
Hi, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and today I am accidentally on fire, like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anyways, yeah. So earlier during the last show I did today, I had that there's two TV spots, but two 15-second clips from Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi will be hitting anytime between now and early next week. Can't tell you when exactly, but very soon. And then I got this piece of news, which is interesting for what it is. Let me see if I can make this look a little bit. Kind of works better, I guess. Exclusive: Star Wars returns to Elstree Studios for Andor Season 2. As a kid, Elstree was a place for movies. Star Wars was filmed there. Quadrophenia was filmed there, which gave us the mods. The Shining, Indiana Jones, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Batman. All of those epics were filmed at Elstree Studios. And now Star Wars is returning to Elstree for Andor Season 2. My sources say that they tell me Season 2 of Andor will film this November. My sister, my twin sister, my twin sister in the dyad of the Force, Bespin Buletin, also heard that November for filming. And I believe we were playing Fortnite just a couple of days ago, and I think I even heard him say that, if I remember right. But there is something strange about the information, and the production time is saying 18 months for this production, which is extraordinarily long. So we can speculate it means another production from Lucasfilm is also coming to the Elstree space, or they're filming 2 more seasons of Andor, or they're just taking their sweet time, which I doubt. You could probably film Rogue Squadron as well with that much time, is what I joke, you know. But seriously, what the fuck is going on with Rogue Squadron? I need to know. Tell us now. But I basically going to say it's kind of cool to see that, you know, Star Wars going back to Elstree where it all started. And just in case you wanted a little brief history, for the prequels, it was assumed that the production would go back to Elstree where the original trilogy was filmed. And it didn't. It went to Leavesden for the Phantom Menace because part of the studio had been torn down by that point. And then they went over to Fox Studios Australia for Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, the Disney era, where it all filmed at Pinewood. And The Mandalorian was filmed basically right down the street from me at Manhattan Beach Studios, and Cassian also filmed at Pinewood the first season. So, and I just put this little caveat. I know it's not necessarily like the same Elstree as back in the day entirely, because it has gone through so many changes over the years, but it's symbolically neat. And then I also dropped a little thing about Bespin Buletin having the Royal Guards and Meg having Mas Amedda in season 1 that came out this week. So I think together we have a nice little trilogy of information for Andor. Theirs kind of goes together, it seems. Mine doesn't really, but we'll go with it. I'm the Rise of Skywalker of their first 2 good films. And then I tell people to come and hang out on this show, where you can become a channel member to support me and the show. And it definitely helps, and it's appreciated. But gotta say, it's nice to know that Andor is being supported to this level, if that makes sense. Because when you get down to it, you know, they oftentimes will let a season come out, let people see if they like it, see if it connects, and then they'll invest in the future. And the fact that Andor is hitting this hard, there's reasons for it, but it does show that if they, you know, they take it serious, they have faith in it. Bespin Buletin says he's been in this fight since he was 6 years old. That's true. It's very true. That's why there's that. That's why they maybe just hear me out here. Maybe the show's about season 2 is about the first 18 months of Cassian's life, and he was fighting other wars. So every month is like, this is the month that I was born. It was the most dangerous month of the Republic. And then from there we go on. I don't know. I really have a hard time imagining that they would film one season of a TV show for 18 months. So they must have the space for 18 months. And, you can look at that a lot of different ways. It may be something as stupid as I don't know how it works, but you need something for 9 months, but they only let you do 18-month rentals or something like something like that. Or 9-month rentals, and they need it for 10 months. So now they have the space for extra time. And or it could be that they're going to go and do the season and they have a little bit of space for reshoots, on the back end, and it just turns out that it ends up with, I don't know. But I'm going to predict, just based off of the fact that there's that much there, that there will be more than one season or one thing filmed at Elstree. It seems safe to say, but who knows what kind of deal they got or any of that kind of jazz. So, Scott was not first. Bespin was first, but you are the first Gerst. You're the first Gerst. And Scott and Sonia, you're the first Gerst. And Darth Maximus, love you, man. Ewan McGregor, loving the show, dude. Sounding good. Ewan says, do you think they will confirm Leia in the marketing before the premiere? I don't. I doubt it. I hope so. It would be good if they were a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit more able to rebound off of, okay, so it got out, like cat's out of the bag. At the same time, it doesn't seem like it's really on the table at this point. But I could be wrong. But, it would be nice, right? Carlos says, it seems K2SO will not show up until season 2. Yeah, we're going to see the droids for sure. We saw so many instances of them using those Imperial droids in the first season. But I'm going to guess that we don't actually get don't get him showing up until later. So, in season 2 seems to be when that time happens. Maybe. And for all we know, there might be like some kind of jump, It might be like season 1, he's just fighting those droids, and then season 2, he's just with them. Depends, because they did the origin story in a comic book, which was a bad idea. I understand at the time why they did it, but it's a little confusing how to handle that. Hey, Jonathan, 18 months seems like a long time, unless they're planning more than 12 episodes. Yeah, also agree with that. But looking at what they how they've acted about 12 episodes on Disney Plus in the past, I don't think they would do more than 12 episodes of a show, generally speaking. We've never had like a live action show like for Marvel or Star Wars where it was like, yeah, we're going to do 22 episodes or whatever, I mean, but I just think that this is something just to pay attention to, because it could be something big. I'm speculating here, but I mean, what if it's season 2 and a mini movie that's just for Disney Plus, like how a droid story is going to be or whatever, something like that. I don't know, but I'm just trying to think outside the box, trying to figure it out. And hopefully sources get in contact with me and clarify why it's 18 months. And maybe it's just clerical, maybe it's completely something we don't care about at the end of the day. But it's interesting. Hey, Jen, how's it going? Nice to see you around these parts. And Carlos says, speaking of comic books, squandering potential, do you think they'll just ignore the comic Ben Kenobi's journal from the main Star Wars run? Off the top of my head, I don't remember if any of that seems to really contradict, like in a big way. I can't recall if it does or not. But I am of the opinion that if something does majorly conflict, I think they'll just take it out. They'll just stop using it. Maybe they'll even revise. To some extent, I'm okay with that. If you introduce casting in a comic book and it's like a weird one-off, then just revise the issue, and the people who have the hard copy will be worth more money, and take it from there, I guess. Hey, Des, what if those 2 Kenobi spots next week are announcements for the trailer coming the next day? Yeah, no, just a hunch. I would know if it was a trailer, I think. I don't want to get egotistical to such a degree. I assume I know what's going on here because I don't. But if it went that far, I think I would know. And I would not expect a trailer next week. I think you are setting yourself up. In fact, I know it's 2 15-second spots that are a montage footage. So expect montage footage. And hopefully it's not a lot of reused footage, if any. Hopefully it's all new, 15 seconds of new footage. I unfortunately don't know if it was, Jedi Jen says 12 episodes is huge for Star Wars for one season. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I mean, like it could have been 6 and would have been like, okay, but I have to think that because of like the layout of this one, it's not the same. The narrative flow is probably drastically different than like, let's say, an 8-episode season of Mando, because there's so much more like turns and stuff when you have a spy thriller. Is my assumption. But sneaking in here at work, yeah, getting paid to hang out with us. That's the best. Carlos Gomez says it'd be cool to see Sagaro's physical deterioration throughout Andor's run. Yeah, I know, right? I feel like Saw is going to be felt throughout all of this stuff coming in the future, and I think it's going to be, as my buddy Bespin Buletin says, it's going to be great yet underrated. I think it sounds like it's going to be the most adult Star Wars we've ever got, or some of the most adult Star Wars we've got. And with that right there means a lot of people are going to be like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like Star Wars to me, or it just doesn't have Jedi, or whatever it is that they like cling to. But I think for those of us who generally like take it all in and have a good time with all of it, I think it's gonna be good. And I think Rogue One burned me out hard, though. That was the one thing about that movie, is I loved it when I saw it, but then I came down from Rogue One pretty hard. It was just like, oh, enough. Like I just don't want anything more to do with that right now. I want to look elsewhere. And then I took this long ass Rogue One break, and then I was like, I watched Rogue One again, and I'm like, man, with just no expectations and just enjoying it for what it is, I love it. So I think Andor, though, being like an ongoing living story, I don't think it'll have the same thing where it's like, okay, now everybody dies. I mean, this one is about his life, so that's a lot more interesting to follow, I think. Johanna says, imagine Thrawn popped up in Andor. Andor. Yeah. I don't know. Johannes, like, I don't hate Thrawn, but he's only as good as the people using him are going to make him. Is what I'm trying to say. Like there's nothing inherent about I am a strategical commander that just goes, fuck, if that strategical commander shows up, everything's going to be turned on its head. You know what I mean? Like it just has to do with somebody who really writes a compelling character. So, it could be Thrawn, or it could be anybody else. I mean, we'll see. Carlos says sex scenes in Andor confirmed, right? Man, for his sake, I hope what's her name isn't his sister, because she's fucking hot. Adrian says, I need more content surrounding Gotra. Awesome story opportunities there. Yeah. What do you think the droid Gotra would think when they meet Baby Yoda in his IG-11 mech? Like, are they like, brother, come hang out with us? Or are they like, he's not your horse, He's not your fathier. You're not my fathier. Darth Maximus is super hyped for Andor. Yeah, good. I think you should be. I think like with Kenobi, we're gonna just get this like deep lore, kind of like here we go. Here's more. Here's us playing with like the main vein of Star Wars. But I think Andor is going to be like where they get to really play with like the Empire Strikes Back world, is how I would put it. Like I feel like they're pretty smart in the sense that these two are kind of coming out when they are lined up the way that they are. But yeah, and we thought the droid Gotra stuff was going to be more involved in the earlier season of Mando, by the way. My old podcast talked about it a lot. And IG 11 and IG 88. And as you can kind of see, it appears that that idea might have been what took us to the mods in Book of Boba. And I'm going to throw it out there. Mods are getting a bad rap, but we keep talking about them. Everyone in the fandom, we keep talking about those mods. So those mods might be something to it in a good story too. Because I honestly think the mod concept in a show like Andor would be more compelling. Like a spy who physically augments themselves for these reasons. Oh, is this an arm? This ain't an arm. This is a computer. I can steal Death Star plans. What are you gonna do about it? You know, that kind of stuff. It could be kind of interesting to have a character with that kind of ability. I'm obviously joking, but you know where I'm going with this. Josh says, speaking of Thrawn, is there any news on the Ahsoka series filming? I thought it was supposed to start by now. Yeah, they're getting going right now. There's sets being built and stuff like that. And yeah, we're hearing interesting things about what's going on there. But let's not go there yet. Carlos says they could do a gotcha story with Phoebe Waller-Bridge in the Lando show. Yeah. You know, I'm curious about that because I don't know a lot about it. So like, this is like complete fucking speculation on my part. But Phoebe Waller-Bridge was writing Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Donald Glover. And then I guess it didn't work out. And now he's writing it by himself or took it over and started writing it by himself. And so I'm curious if that could be, if that could mean the end of that. Or if it was amicable and cool, just didn't work, you know, just didn't get together, and that they'll be back in that series together in some way. Because, you know, either you could make it work. I kind of hope so. You know, people really dislike the character. I thought that the character was like pretty funny. A robot that wants its rights it's fun. I think inherently fun. But that's just me. I think a lot of people got turned off because they saw it as a real world kind of thing. Like, I don't like it when the ladies are taking the bras off and lighting them on fire, and it reminds me of that. You know, I think that might have been the issue, or maybe just sucked to them. I don't know. Whatever. Jonathan says Andor is definitely the Dark Horse series really hyped for. Yeah. Andor. I mean, but Andor has the same like. It has the only thing going against Andor is that you could go, oh, I already know he dies. But it is so fucking what? I mean, I could go watch any historical drama and I know everybody in the fucking drama's dead, probably how they died, but it doesn't ruin the story. So I don't think that is relevant, but the only thing going against Andor is that we do have his conclusion, you know, to his life on screen. Sorry, there's just no beaming him out of there. That's going to be satisfactory in any way, in my opinion. And so that's the only thing going against the series. But it's just like Mando, where it's like you can do whatever you want. You know, you can tell whatever story you want. And it's like Mando's backdrop is supposed to Return of the Jedi, but this one is during the Galactic Civil War. So, you know, you get all your stuff. That was that would totally work. So Bespin is correcting me, saying she was co-writing it and co-starring. They had created differences months down the line, and now Donald writes it solo. However, Maya Erkenstein, who is in Kenobi, is now the co-lead. So it was enough that she left, that she was like, fuck you, I'm out. Because that's kind of, that doesn't sound like they would be good. Des says, wouldn't they call the teaser official trailer if it was the only one? It's very unusual and strange. Hey, dude, I'm totally not telling you that there's no trailer. I'm just telling you there's what I'm talking about ain't that. And that ain't coming Monday. You know what I'm saying? Like there could be another trailer. I'm not saying that there is, but I am only hearing about a ton of visual promotional material that isn't trailer 2. And so the only reason to not do a trailer is Leia. That's the only thing I could think of. But at the same time, I'm also going to throw it out there that looking at what they threw in there from the first couple of episodes, if they do another trailer, I'm not really sure how different it can be. Like, because I know what's in those episodes, and I know what's in the trailer, and I'm like, without really getting into Leia, Alderaan, Bell Organa, and the other new characters, and like the Force colony on Jabim. I don't know how you do another trailer unless it's just Obi-Wan and Anakin. I'm sorry, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fighting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's a way. I just don't really know how they would do it without showing us a bunch more of the same. So I'm imagining I'm so about my excitement for the next trailer, because I figure it's going to be more of the same with some Darth Vader swinging a light laser sword in it, and I can just go watch any Star Wars movie and see that. Adrian says Disney definitely invested a lot of energy into building on the Gotcha story, Rebels, Solo, comics, C-3PO consciousness. I'm convinced it's leading somewhere. Well, one thing, Adrian, is that it earlier on, if you remember, I had that ragtag story this week. That was an old story that I've been reporting on for a few years, actually. The main character that would have been in the second game, Roby Mattox, she hates droids. There was going to be an angle to it where she was going to deal with droids and consciousness. And I kind of felt like maybe some of the droid Gotra stuff was moving in that realm. And then I also saw it literally die with that. So I don't know if there's a link there. You know what I mean? It's really hard to tell what a writer's intentions were and stuff, but Baymax says, huh? Bespin says, yeah, I already read that one. Carlos says, if we're possibly seeing Masamita and Mon Mothma in Andor, could we possibly visit Coruscant or the Senate itself? We haven't seen much in it after what becomes of the Empire. Yeah, that's what I say in my article. I mean, like it sounds like when you put those things together, and what I read on Bespin's article about it, I get the vibe Imperial Senate is going to be a thing, and I could be wrong, but one of the big things about the last few years, especially in American politics, has been about what do you do when you have a compromised politician? When you have a corrupt politician is inherently a compromised politician. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on any of this bullshit either. All politicians are bad. Obi-Wan told you that. He wasn't lying, but I'm kidding, kind of. But basically, once you've done something wrong and somebody has it on you, now they get to hold that over your head and you're compromised. And that was such a huge part of American politics from 2016 to now. And it's been something that has been talked about, Russians with their compromat and stuff like that. So I kind of don't know how you go and start writing a Cassian Andor series in 2016 and that not be on your mind. So I think what we're going to see is maybe a more interesting way of dealing with politicians, potentially. Speculation on my part, but the more interesting way is what happens when you have a compromised politician? How are they used at the behest of, say, a Sith Lord, or maybe even how do you get Imperials to start funneling over weapons to a rebel insurgency, stuff like that. And that's what George Lucas was interested in talking about at one point with Underworld. And so those ideas have always been a part of Star Wars, and I keep expecting them to show back up in some way at some point. So doesn't mean it will, but it's completely possible. Second trailer only shows Reva footage, right? I know. I'm like, do I continue to cover the stuff with Reva, or do I not? Because idiots are going to use it to turn it into, stories that are just bullshit. I don't know. Steven says, do you think Andor is more Day of the Jekyll or Mission Impossible or the Third Man? Yeah, I'm going to say probably, because it's Star Wars, it's probably going to feel a little bit more Mission Impossible, but because it's a television series, it's really hard to say. I would imagine I imagine the series to feel a lot like the opening of Rogue One in certain ways, exotic locations. I've seen some like bars that they made for it, like a bunch of sets a while ago, and like it looks like there's like fancy like cocktail bars and stuff. So the settings seem on, but then we get these like remote bases, for rebel bases and stuff. So it's kind of hard to say. I imagine though, if I had to guess, each episode probably plays with something and some trope in some way. That's just a guess though. Jedi, isn't Andor the original idea George Lucas had for the television show that was Spies Underground? No, it wasn't. That got pushed around because people were trying to say that George Lucas wrote Andor, which was never true. He's never a part of it. And it was Underworld was the television series that he wanted to do. And Underworld wasn't about spies. It was about the crime family, about the Crymora crime family on Coruscant 1313. And we were going to have a Jedi who was a child when Order 66 happened. Not a child, but like a teenager. And just goes and hides in 1313 and then becomes like a big criminal down there and is like a secret Jedi kind of thing. And that's where and then he was going to have it spin off into a Rebel Alliance series and an Imperial series. And we were going to see how black markets and politics corrupt all of these things and how all of these things make the circle of life. Ironically, Lucas's idea is exactly what DJ's idea of the world that he gives to to Finn and Rose in The Last Jedi is literally what George Lucas was talking about. And then Bespin tells Carlos that I did a report 2 years ago that Jimmy was in talks to reprise the role as Bell on Andor. Also, they have a political TV writer working on the series, so probably, yeah, I think so too. Baymax asks, will we see the Senate pushing back against the Emperor before they were dissolved? I would imagine that since we have, as was brought up, we have Mon Mothma in this, she could just be in the rebel base going, now is the most gravest of times, and that shit that they do. But I could definitely see her being in the Senate, giving the push, and then we got what's his name, the horny guy, just sitting there like pushing back, and then we see that it's all a farce. And but at the end of the day, how does that pertain to Andor and spying and stuff? But Steven says, how do you think the accelerated release drops for Kenobi benefits Disney Plus, the narrative and the fan base? By the way, Jason, thank you for all the squirting this year. I'm soaked. The accelerated release drop of Kenobi. Well, what I think it does is it lets them get out ahead of any narrative that could form immediately upon it hitting. Like, oh God, more Tatooine. Well, you're gonna have one episode all on Tatooine, and then the next episode all on Daiyu. So it immediately, like, I think it's like one episode is about leaving home, and then the next 4 are about the adventure. And I think by getting you 1/4 of the way into the adventure, so to speak, that gets you invested and you're likely to watch the rest. That's my guess. But yeah, I'm kind of glad. I'm glad that things air weekly usually, so we have time to like talk about each part, together and let it breathe and stuff. But it would be nice if it all just dropped at once too. But yeah. Hey, Mr. Z. Wait, second trailer release? No, there's no second trailer. Don't worry. Yeah, Jedi Mike 1313. That's right. And we saw 1313 and the spice, those guys in Book of Boba and all that stuff. All that stuff showed up in Kenobi and Clone Wars. Clone Wars, and yeah. So that they were starting to like tease it out, it just never happened. Bespin says it's neat that Star Wars Underworld script turned into God of War 2018. Is that right? Is that the same story? Jonathan says Andor feels more like Jason Bourne. That's the vibe I get. A mixture of other spy thriller movies. Okay. Yeah. I'm in no way like an expert on the that like genre or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the horny guy. Masameta. Is it a meta or meta? I don't know. But Bespin says, Rob eating ass, taking names. Hey, I invited him, but I think he's eating ass. Jonathan says, also political thriller. I love that stuff. Yeah, it definitely could be good. Like the thing about Cassian is there a central like chase? That's what I want to know. Like that's what I'm still wondering about. Like, are they trying to? I mean, I'm making this up. That's not a good one. But are they trying to uncover that Darth Sidious is Palpatine? Like, what are they trying to reveal? That's the question. You know, what are they trying to get? He says it's meta, masa meta. Okay. So, but what are they trying to like get? Like that's what's the MacGuffin? What's the info? What's the compromising info? What are they spying on? Is it just all? I'm gonna be a little disappointed if it's about the fucking Death Star. If this is all about getting to that Death Star information, I guess you could have it be all about the Death Star information, and it goes into all these like left turns, and they figure out all of this other stuff before they finally hit the mother lode in Rogue One and get it. You know what he's been looking for. But something tells me it's the Death Star, though. Bespin says, seriously, a script focusing on Palpatine and Star Wars Underworld turned into God of War. Oh, shit. Was that one of the guys on the Nerdist podcast who was talking back in the day? I kind of feel like I remember something about that. And then dropped that Palpatine met a woman who was really bad to him, and she's the one who turned him evil. Everyone was like, I can't blame him for making Palpatine evil. It's like, no, Palpatine's responsible for Palpatine. But an evil woman can definitely break your heart. Carlos Gomez says, Lux Bonteri would be a great character to bring into Andor, give him the Andor connection and saw him the fact that he used to be a separatist like Cassian. Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I think Lux is honestly in a couple of ways too. What's his name? Paulo, the artist from Naboo that was Padme's first boyfriend. That guy has to be shitting his pants. Once like she's married to Darth Vader and then he's the Sith Lord, you can't just be like, hey, I'm Paulo. Darth Vader's gonna beat the shit out of you. So yeah, there's a couple of characters that would be fun to see explored, I think. And Bespin says Rob is definitely eating ass right now. You know what? I think we'll call this one a show. I think we did it. Today. We did an extra half hour. We got some more news out. We got a lot of news out today. We did good, Bespin. We did good. But we will be back on Monday. If those clips should hit, I'll be back. And yeah, but I'm gonna start my weekend here because it's what I do. You know, I'm a weekender. But one last question from Josh. Do you think Ahsoka or anyone from Rebels will show up in Andor? I kind of don't. I kind of don't really buy a lot about what I've heard about Andor if it's not from Bespin, if it's not from Meg. I really don't. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. You know what, Carlos? You're right. Let the show die. Kill it if you have to. That's how we're going to do this. We're just going to kill it right now. And everyone have a good weekend. And thanks for all the support. I appreciate it. Become a channel member to support the show. Patreon supporter, support the show. Super chat, support the show. Whatever you want. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be back Monday with something if nothing happens. But if something does happen, I'll see you guys then.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.